This
And
conference will now be
all
recorded.
new, brand new.
Yeah,
So it shouldn't do it. Maybe it's the old computer. Could be.
yeah, who knows? Yeah, we've had green light since we moved in, and it's pretty darn reliable. Not up here in the Adirondacks, but in Pittsford. I didn't know if it was on that side. I think Brooke asked me about it, and I don't think it's on that side of state yet, at least for the residents.
Green. I know our neighbors are getting green light, so
Yeah, so it's
should look
finally
into
making it. I think we were just lucky because we were on a, major corridor that we were able to
it where
get
they
it.
did it first. Yeah.
Yeah, because they had already serviced the businesses further down Monroe.
Is our presenter from um, Colonial Bell going to be with
I
us today?
spoke to her on Friday, and she indicated she was going to do her best to be here. I gave
Okay.
her the links and the calling number, so I told her 10:30.
Okay.
She did give me some information that I passed on to you. She did fill out the application. She'll provide the insurance as needed. But I told her in case there was questions that obviously isn't in the information she provided, I highly recommended she be here.
Okay.
So
Okay,
I'm hoping she's
do we want to start since we have a quorum?
Would you like to start with the North Main, or do you want to wait for the mayor for that?
Well, the basic, twice over the weekend, I had two different, have we called the meeting to order?
No, we
I
haven't.
haven't yet, but I just was asking if that was all right with you, since if we
Sure.
jumped ahead. All right.
Yeah, once we call the meeting to order, sure.
All right. What time is it now, Dorothy? I'm sorry, I don't have that on here.
10:31.
Okay, I'll make the motion to call the meeting to order. Do I have a second?
Second,
Second. Darn it, Dan.
I will let you second everything today. And it's all you today.
All right. Thanks so
Okay.
much, Dan.
Setzer,
Setzer, aye.
trustee Keating,
Keating, aye.
trustee Lampier.
Lanfear, aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, so twice over the weekend from two separate areas in town that aren't State Street, had residents call me and say, hey, the speeding is really bad and I almost just got hit and what can we do? And one was on North Main, right at Line, and the other was on Jefferson at Eastview Terrace. And, I'm adding all this up and the residents are saying to us over and over and over again, speeding is a big problem. And I think we've done a really good job of doing what we can on State Street. And it's leading me to believe that we should sort of put out a statement, have a session, something where residents can kind of come in and talk and we can tell them what our plans are and what we've been doing. And, we've heard it from Elisa Plummer on South Main. It's happening on all the major arteries. And so I think we need to be a little bit more proactive in our response and in our communication to the community. So I would suggest a sort of a special meeting to discuss this and only this, that we can publicize, get ideas from people, let people vent their stories, talk about what we can do and can't do. That's basically what I'm thinking.
Okay, sounds good. Do you have a date in mind?
No, I just wanted to bring up the idea with everybody, and then we can schedule it.
Yeah,
And
I
it
think
would
we
be
need to.
online only. Go ahead, Renee.
I'm sorry. We at the last meeting, Elisa brought the idea up of a petition. So she and I met last week to get that started as well. So, we've got a huge issue with all of our gateways, which are the arterial roads that you mentioned. And it was bad before the pandemic. And since then, speeding has become worse, and that's a nationwide trend. They're seeing it all over. More people are driving. When the roads were empty, they were driving faster, and probably it's got to have something to do with the psychological state. Who knows? Everybody's in this heightened state of anxiety right now, and just so the speeding has become worse, but it's not a new problem to us. And I think we need an organized I think we need our leadership in Albany to back us up so that we can get some changes with DOT as well. And we talked about that at the last meeting to show that this is a, the citizens are asking for this. It's not just the board saying, oh, we're a quiet little village and, we don't want you speeding through our streets. This is a quality of life issue and a safety issue, and it's impacting our residents. So I think before we go into a public meeting, let's have some actionable items. And I think, the petition's a great idea, which we are starting and we're working on now to circulate not only within the village, but also the surrounding areas. So that, the neighborhoods that use the village and walk and bike into the village who care about it. The outskirts, the further out you get, the less people care about it. So I think we want to focus on our village first, and then the surrounding support from the town. And we already know that the supervisor also supports slowing things down. So I think we can get some support from the town as well. So I like your idea, Dan. Let's get it scheduled, but let's have some concrete ideas of what we want to do. I know we're about to have a change of, in November in one seat, at least our representation might change or will change. We don't know who it'll be. So we need to be prepared and ready to act.
Yeah. And in fact, we can invite the candidates as well.
Yeah.
But, you hear the same things from folks that we've heard elsewhere, which is, could you just put up that sign that has the radar thing that says, hey, you're going 43 and a 30? Those kinds of things. And there are, as we've been over many times, there are small things that we can do.
Yeah. So we need to be thinking of those things too. I mean, the things that we have within our control and that we can afford right now on our tight budget.
I'll put out an email since Frank and Bob aren't here. I'll put out an email to the team and just say, hey, we'd like to get something moving. Let's get it on the calendar. Let's have some action items. Let's just move in a broader way than the targeted way that we've been going so far. Because I'm sure you guys are hearing it too. It's not just State Street.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I live on a corridor, so I see it every day. It's extremely dangerous for my kids to walk to school.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Renee, I do believe that the speed sentry has been on State Street for several weeks now. Perhaps we can propose to Zach that it be moved.
Yeah, that's a good
maybe
idea.
to Jefferson Road for a couple of
Jefferson Road, Main Street.
Yeah, I think in one of our meetings, Bob or the mayor did say, let's move that thing around because we recognize that State Street is not our only speed problem, and we have requests for this. And I don't think we can afford another one right now, but moving that around is a really good idea.
So
while you responded, so Renee, I want to drill in on what you just said. That's another thing that we need to talk about as a team is how can we afford more than one of these?
Yeah,
And so that has to be an action item. And so who's taking the action item to reach out to Zach and say, hey, could you move it and just put it in a rotating basis on all the arteries, right?
Arterials, yeah. Yes, and I think, so I can reach out to him. I believe the mayor already gave him some guidance, but what I'll do is just reach out to everybody all at once, the mayor, and just to make sure I'm not conflicting with anything he may have already told Zach.
Super, thank you.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you. And I see Tammy has arrived.
Hi, Tammy.
Hi, Tammy.
Is your mic on?
There we go. Sorry, I had to unmute myself.
That's all right.
Hello.
Tammy, you're the Colonial Belle?
Yes,
Yes, she
my
is.
family has the Colonial Belle. I'm one of the captains.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Tammy, would you like to explain a little bit? I know we have the background information. This is Trustee Lanfear. About what your proposal is and exactly, do you have an idea of exactly where you would like to tie up? I know it's on the village side of the wharf. So do you have an idea of where the best place to tie up the ship for safety reasons might be?
Sure. We actually could dock anywhere if we needed to, but Mayor Corby was suggesting that the area that's closer to the Main Street Bridge there, in the newer section of the dock might be the best spot for us. And we're flexible, so that works totally fine.
Okay, great. Would you require a different sort of a gangplank for people with bicycles, or will it accommodate that already?
No, ours that we already have is made of, I believe it's steel. It's very strong. We can put 400-pound power wheelchairs even on that ramp.
Okay.
So we'll just have that with us on board and put it out when we're having passengers board and disembark.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about the timing? Is it the several times a week that you plan this special program, or?
Obviously it's going to be based on how many passengers we have that are interested in this, and it's a little later in the season than we had hoped, but everything is on a delay this year, so it is what it is. But we are hoping to do it on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We would leave Fairport at 11 o'clock, arrive in Pittsford at about noon, and then we would depart in about 15 to 30 minutes back to Fairport. And the idea would be people would get on the boat in Fairport and then ride down to Pittsford. They would get off and they would have the option of walking or riding their bike back to Fairport, or we would also have the option where they could get on in Pittsford and cruise back to Fairport, which would allow people to use the towpath for 8 miles instead of 16 round trip. We have extra space on board right now because we can only carry 70 passengers maximum, where normally it's 149. So some of that 6 feet of social distancing space that we have, bicycles can fit in some of those spaces. So this is an idea that my father, who started our company in 1989, had a long, long time ago, kind of connecting the two areas between Pittsford and Fairport, and having people utilize the canal path and stop and see things along the way, that when they're on the boat, they can't really do that so much.
Tammy, that sounds wonderful. Do any of the other trustees have questions for Tammy? And congratulations on getting your captain's license. I know
Thank
you
you.
and another young woman, very few women have that. Good
This
for
is
you.
true. Yeah, when I went to captain school, there were 26 people in my class, and 2 of them were women.
That's right. Good for
Me
you.
being one of them.
Renee, do you have questions?
No, I think I have a comment. This is a great idea. I love anything that is connecting people using their bicycles, walking around our village. This is fantastic. And we have lots of bike parking there. So if people get off, regardless of which direction they're coming from, we've got plenty of bike parking to accommodate them right there at the gazebo near where you'd be parking. Not the gazebo, you know what I'm talking about. The thing in front of, what do we call that thing? The little covered place in between Lock 32 and
Gazebo. Yeah.
it is. It's
Bigger
okay.
thing.
It's just a square gazebo, a rectangular one. All right. Anyway, so
Yeah,
I'm in
so
support of this.
Both villages and even Bushnell's Basin along the way offer so many things for people to see the canal in our area. And if they can see it from the water and then also do it on their bike or walking on the canal path, I think that's just an amazing way to experience the canal and the communities along the way.
yeah. So
Tammy, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I want to underline what everybody has said. Very excited about this. I didn't see in the application the insurance, but I'm sure you've got it. And
We do have insurance. We have insurance for lots of different areas, and our insurance company can do that fairly quickly for us. We just kind of got word that we needed to do paperwork, so we did that very quickly on Friday at the end of the day, and thankfully Dorothea helped me through that. And we will get the insurance information out to you before we would start anything.
yeah, so any approval would be conditional on that. Yeah, really look forward to it. Our friends at Aladdin's and Simply Crepes and Lock 32 and the gelato place are all going to love this.
Yeah.
And we're assuming you'll be good neighbors with the Sam Patch. There will be no infighting with the Sam Patch.
I don't think so. We have a really great relationship with them. We had trouble getting into the state dry dock a few years ago when NYPA took over the canal, and the Sam Patch wrote a letter on our behalf helping us get in there, and we have given them some advice on how to get new fuel because their source went away. So we have a great relationship with them, and I think this is something that they definitely can't do because they don't have the space.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be kind of a totally different thing than what they're doing.
Yes.
Great.
and not to compete with them.
Marvelous. All right, so I do believe the first order of business then is to make a motion to waive the 45-day requirement for a non-municipal use permit. This is non-municipal.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead and waive it and grant the approval at the same time. You don't have to
Okay,
put the motion.
then I will do that. I will combine that motion with the condition that we receive the information on insurance.
Sure.
That's my motion.
Stetzer will second that.
She got it. She got in there.
Okay.
Okay.
It
Trustees,
was all I could do. It was all I could
I know, I can see.
I had to sit on my hands and mute my microphone.
I can tell. I
Yeah.
can tell, Dan. All right.
trustee Stetser,
Stetzer is aye.
trustee Keating,
Keating, aye.
trustee Lampier.
Lampier, aye.
Motion passes.
Woohoo.
Thank you.
That's great. Thank you very much.
Welcome to the neighborhood, Tammy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We
Excited.
actually started our business over there in Shane Place in 1989, and we were there for about 3 years. But unfortunately, parking for a huge vessel was not ideal.
Yeah, that's true.
So we're excited to still be in Pittsford a little bit, and I live in Pittsford, so
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Nice.
We were one of the first people on that ship
that's wonderful.
when we were lighting. So we'll watch you go. My husband's a captain as well.
Oh, great.
Yeah, he got his captain's license too. So yes, we wave. I'm on the canal. See, I'm there.
Puppy.
So we'll wave at you when you by.
That's great.
Let me just forward the insurance information onto that, to my email, and I'll make sure the appropriate people get it.
Yes, I'll contact our insurance agent today, and they should get that pretty quickly.
Okay. All right.
Super. Have a good day, Tammy.
Thank you very much.
Super.
Thanks
And
so much,
Tammy, one last thing, please promote it on your Facebook page. We'll promote what you've promoted, all that stuff.
That's great.
We'll let the Chamber of Commerce know as well, because they'll want to make people aware of this. It's an exciting change.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Bye.
If anybody has questions along the way, you can find me through our contacts with the Colonial Bell.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Have a
Thank
good day.
You too.
Bye.
Okay, I think that's it.
Okay, so
any-
what I couldn't, just getting back to the first item that we had, that we talked about, the speeding. I'm going to take the item of getting Zach coordinating to move the speed sentry. Are we thinking which gateway do we want to put it on next? Do we want to put it down on Jefferson near the curve before Eastview? That's where we've received 2 complaints recently about that crosswalk. Is that where we'd like him to move it next?
I agree with that.
That
Yeah.
works.
And,
Yeah.
and then
Okay.
after that, 2 stints on Main Street, one on South, one on North.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, the State Street neighbors are not going to be happy that that is going away.
No.
We also know that drivers do habituate to those, so it is good to move them around. But we're going to have a little discussion, have to have a little talk with State Street, because they're going to be very disappointed.
No, it's true, but we're a community and we all help each other. And I
Yeah,
think they
no,
will
I agree.
appreciate that other villagers have the same issues that they do.
Yeah. So then the other one was setting up or beginning the planning for a bigger public meeting, maybe sometime in September. Is that what we're thinking?
Yeah. And
Okay.
I'll circulate something by email to the trustees, and especially since Frank and Bob aren't here, this is what we're thinking. Let's start looking at dates.
Okay. So you're going to take that one?
I'll run with that, Renee. Yeah.
Okay, great. I just wanted to make sure we didn't lose it. And I will, I'm working on the petitions remotely, writing up the language for that. We've kind of got 2 that we're going to be circulating to citizens to sign. One is in support of the speed legislation, and 2 is in support of having DOT work with us to make our gateways safer. And we haven't figured out the concrete items we're asking for yet. So anyway.
Who's sponsoring it?
So those are going to come from the citizens. So I think rather than from us, and then we will put a letter together signing from the trustees in support of this as well. So we'll have both.
Okay, is there a
I'm
name
sorry.
to the citizens group or it's just citizens of them?
No, I think it's just citizens. So we haven't decided who's going to start it yet. Whether it'll be, what we had one idea of circulating it through Walk Bike Pittsford, or if it should just be some of the neighbors. We haven't figured it out yet. We just met, so any ideas are welcome. I don't know what the best course of action is at this point. We're trying to just get the language, write it up so that it sounds good, and we have some data in there about speed and safety, and then we want to obviously reference our LWRP and our active transportation plan to underscore that, like, this is part of who we are, to make it safe to walk and bike.
It's great. I'm all for doing it via Walk Bike Pittsford, but I'll leave that in your capable hands to
Yeah,
figure
I
out.
don't know. Yeah, if either of you have an idea of what would be best, should it just come from, can it be the village neighborhood? Can it be, State Street neighbors? Can it be, one citizen who starts it? Or what do you think is best?
Well, I want it to be all encompassing, so that's
Yes.
why I like Walk Bike Pittsford being a part of it,
Yeah, okay,
as opposed
all
to
right,
State Street or,
right,
Lisa starts it, well, it's about Main Street. So this is
right,
about the whole thing, and Walk Bike Pittsford, I mean, this is what they do. So
right. Okay, all right, sounds good.
Thanks, Renee.
Okay, thank you both.
I will make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Stetzer second. I almost
Thank
gave
you.
it to Dan.
Trustee Stetser,
Stetzer, aye.
trustee Keating,
Keating, aye.
trustee Lanfair.
Lanfear, aye.
Motion passes. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everybody.
See everybody.
Have a good
Aye.
day.
Have a great